Hi, I'm Becky Swan from Crafters Companion, and I'm going to be taking you through these box pouches from our new collection of sewing templates. This is what you'll get when you purchase this, and you're going to be making these kind of square box bags. They're great for filling up with all your toiletries, and you get the details to make them in 3 different sizes. You can make a small one that's almost the size for a pencil case or makeup bag, and then larger ones are great for your toiletries. All of the instructions, all of the sizes are just down here, and if you turn to the back of your little booklet, you'll see we've given you the instructions for all the different fabrics that you may need, including your zips as well. Once you open up your package, you will see you'll get your template in here, and you'll also get your instructions. Now the templates, we've tried to make them as simple as possible, and so you'll see we've written on the top of here what everything is called and how many of everything you need to cut, whether you need to cut them from the contrasting fabric, the lining fabric, the outer fabric, interfacing or wadding. All of that information is on here. But if you open up your little booklet, you will see that we've given you all of those instructions down here as well, highlighting each section in red, whether it's the large panel or the large handle. And we'll also give you instructions down this side as to any of the additional pieces of haberdashery that you may need, including a zipper foot, a sewing machine, and all those sorts of things. So down here, it shows you how many of everything you need to cut. So for each of your boxes, box pouches, you'll need to cut 2 out of your outer fabric, 2 from your lining fabric, 2 for your medium weight interfacing, 2 from wadding, your handle as well. You need 2 contrasting fabrics and 2 pieces out of your interfacing. And we've given you step-by-step instructions in order for you to put that all together. So first of all, what we need to do is we need to cut out our medium main panel for this size that we're using. Now I've already cut my piece of fabric out, but just so you can see how I've used the template, I'm just going to lay that over the top. So here we've got place on fold. So we want a piece of fabric that's been folded in half, and we want to place that fold line across here. And then using my heat erasable pens, I've just drawn through all of those little shapes, and then I've taken that off, and then I've cut those shapes here. So you can see you've effectively got a little bit like a t-shirt kind of shape, but as we open it up, you'll see that that makes the overall shape of the box that we're going to be doing. So we want 2 out of the lining fabric, we want 2 out of the outer fabric, which is this beautiful velvet here, and we also want to use our zip as well. So we're going to start off by putting all of that together. Now what we want to use is we want to use our lining fabric, which is this one here, and we're going to have that facing upwards. So I put my instructions here, you can see what I'm doing. And then I'm going to take my zip and I'm going to place this down like so on here. Then I'm going to take my outer fabric and I'm going to place that facing downwards like that over the top. And what we're going to do is we're going to pin these together, and then using our zipper foot, we're going to sew all the way along here, and then we will open that out to create the first part of our box bag. And we'll do the same with the other side. So it will look like this when you've sewn this first piece together. So you've got your lining fabric, and then you've got your zip here, and then you've got that piece of outer fabric over the top. We would have stitched all the way down here and then opened it up so you get it looking like this. And then we do the same with the other side. So we do exactly the same. So we would get our lining fabric like so. We take this whole panel with that zip on it, placing downwards, and then use this other piece of fabric like so, stitch along here, and then that is the main part of your box already made. The next thing we're going to do are the little pulls, the little handles for the side of the bag. So what we've done here is we've got some interfacing on our fabric, our contrasting fabric, and we want to find the midpoints. We're just folding it up and we're going to give it an iron here. And then we're going to open it up, and then we'll just fold those 2 outer edges in here, and then go on across again like this. And then we just want to stitch down either side here. We do 1 line of stitching over the top, and then we're going to do another row of stitching this way. And do the same with the other piece. You have 2 of these little handles ready. Okay, so now we're going to take this whole pouch and we've sewn this all together. We've put the pieces together. So we've put the outer pieces together and we've stitched down this side here. And then we've got our lining section and we've stitched down here, but we've left a little bit of a turning gap just here. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to fold these pieces together. So effectively folding to create in alignment with that zip. So we've got these pieces together, so you can see how the bag is beginning to look. So put them like this together, and then what we want to do is we want to give this a bit of an iron so we've got that all nice and sharp. And then we want to start stitching the box panels together. So we want to start stitching across here and across here, and then we want to flip it over and sew across these two sides here. So you're only sewing the outer part together and then the lining part together. So this is one we've started stitching. So you can see here we've stitched along this line here, and that's where you've got your outer fabric. And then we flipped it over. What we did is we just pinned these out of the way, and then we stitch across here on your lining fabric here. And we do the same at both ends. So we've actually sewn these little pieces together, and we're almost finished now in creating the design. What we just need to do is create these little pocket edges. So these are going to be the bits where we're going to have our little handle inside there. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our handle and we want to insert them inside here. So what we're doing here is we're going to attach these two pieces together. But what we want to do is we want to insert these inside first of all. So I'm just going to pop that through. And I'm going to just leave it poking out very, very slightly to the edge here. We'll put a couple of pins in here, and then we're going to sew it up. Like that. So we'll do the first one first of all, and then we will, once that's sewn together, we will then do the other side as well. I'm just going to pop my hand inside this little gap here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the zip is slightly open in the bag. It'll just make turning through that much simpler in a moment. Now I'm going to find so this is the bit we've sewn up. I'm going to find that little tab, which is here, and then I'm going to sandwich that little tab, that little handle, in between this piece of the outer fabric. This bit just takes a little bit of manipulation to make sure you've got it in the right place. Don't worry if it's just poking through a little bit. If it makes it easier, have that little extra piece. Don't necessarily line them straight up. It just makes it easier for you to sew. And then we're going to do the same with the lining afterwards. Okay, so now we're going to do exactly the same with these lining pieces. It's a little bit easier with the lining pieces because we've not got that little handle in there. But we're just going to do exactly the same, just line everything up and then stitch across here. I'm going to do that with the same for all of the 4 lining pieces, those lining corners. Okay, so now we're at a point where we want to pull everything through. So we've still got that little gap in between in the lining fabric, so we're just going to pull the whole of the bag through that little gap. And just takes a little bit of time, so just ease it through gently. And then we just want to seal up this little gap here. This is your gap in your lining. So we can sew that by hand, or you can sew it by sewing machine, just do a bit of stitching there. And then once that's done, we just need to poke that lining back into the bag. Like so, and then you can see you've got your bag already made with your little handles on either side.